Trump Mobile is going to revolutionize cell phones, mobile calling. We're going to do it better. We're going to do it safer. We're going to have more functionality, more features. And the coolest thing about all these ventures is we're doing it right here in the United States. You're not calling up call centers in Bangladesh. You're not, you're doing it right out of St. Louis, Missouri. And you're going to have phones that are made right here in the United States of America. And it's going to be cheaper, $47 a month.
Now, when that came out, not that many months ago, a lot of leftists like me implied that they definitely were not going to manufacture smartphones here in America. And we said that, we were presumptuous. We said it before we knew for sure. And so I do need to now update you that, yeah, no, it was a lie. They're not gonna do that. Of course, they were never gonna do that. Everything in that video was a lie, but especially the Made in America thing. They're not even pretending anymore that it's gonna be made in America. What they are pretending though, is that it will someday be made. And there is no good evidence that that's going to happen. And they've kind of backed off a little bit. They would really prefer that you get their service, which they can make a bunch of money on, but buy a phone that someone else has made. So if you go to their website, you can see this. You can still put a deposit on the T1 phone if you have $100 that you'd like to never get anything for. You could do that deposit, or you could get one of these other phones, a couple of Samsungs, an Apple, renewed Apple 15s or 14s. I don't know why there's so many generations old, but you might think, oh, well, that's to make it cheap, right? I mean, it's a couple generations old, you save money. Well, you can if you buy those phones somewhere else, but for some reason, when you buy them through Trump Mobile, you're gonna pay a premium because Apple frequently sells the iPhone 15 with a $100 discount, $100 less than Trump Mobile is selling it. Refurbished iPhone 14s are not officially sold by Apple at the moment, but you can currently get one for just $305 on Amazon or $327 at Best Buy, or you could spend nearly $200 more to get it from Trump Mobile. So, we've seen a lot of grift and we've seen a lot of lies, but you could have both those websites up next to each other. Why would you pay so much more so that Eric Trump could get the money? It's not gonna make him like you. He doesn't even remember that he runs this company. You think he's thought about it in the last 3 months? But anyway, you don't want those phones. You want the T1, and you can still try to buy it, I guess. You'll only be charged $100 and you'll be the first to get it. In 100 years, never, I don't know. They originally were gonna ship it in September of this year, but back in June, they had to remove the Made in America branding because they weren't gonna do that. And in fact, it's not even gonna get service across all of America. Here is the service map. It's not bad, but there are some gaps. If you're in Idaho or West Virginia, I guess you shouldn't have lived in one of those woke ass parts of the country if you wanted to use Trump Mobile. You're gonna have to go with Apple or whatever. JR, what do you think?
Do you remember the Obama phone derogatory conversation they had about Obama phones, which was a program for lower income folks to have access to some kind of phone, considering technology has moved a certain direction. And which, by the way, it was a program that didn't originate during Obama's term, but since racists in all of our media and conservative talkers wanted to somehow claim and say because poorer folks who may not have access to this types of communication devices get an opportunity at it, let's connect it to Obama because then we can just say Obama phones and say, look at all those minorities are getting these freebies. Remember that whole thing?
Yep.
But somehow this guy can slap his name on something that's overpriced, old overpriced phones that you're never gonna get with shoddy service and lies about where things are made. And there's not a bunch of derogatory things being said about him screwing over middle to lower income folks that are stupid enough to fall for his latest scheme when they're still waiting for the golden sneakers, the Bible, the watches, the hats, the t-shirts. I can't even go through all the things this guy's been hawking to these idiots that keep spending their money on it and getting nothing in return. But it's always based off of how they're gonna try and manipulate the energy behind these things. Yeah. When is someone gonna finally ask him? Every time he steps up, surprise him. Where are those Trump phones at, fool? What's going on? When is it gonna show up at people's doorsteps and let him and watch him squirm and watch him lie a little bit?
Yeah. Anyone see anyone walking around in gold Trump sneakers? A lot of broken promises and a lot of wasted money.